Here we go. I don't need to listen to anybody because we're all here. Hi, everybody. Hello. It's Erin Reed from Erin Reed Makes, and welcome. I'm looking to see all the comments. Let me flip over so I can see comments. There's tons of people. Hello. All right, let's jump in. Just a little bit about me. So I'm Erin Reed from Erin Reed Makes. I have been part of all these amazing summits and I'm having so much fun. And I loved this idea about using supplies you already have, like 5 or less. Like, how cool is that? That's such a cool and wonderful idea. I love that concept that they came up with. So I have a YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. I've been in the card making industry for a long time. I do tons of videos and events and retreats and all kinds of cool stuff. But if you've got any questions, please drop down the information. I'm going to be looking over here. Question, is my printer laser jet or inkjet? Great question. Okay, depends on what I'm using it for. For the cards that we made together, so for these bad boys, these ones I used an inkjet. I actually have an what's it called? The new Eco Tank from Epson. So you can fill up the ink with little bottles that you get. And I'm in love with it. I actually have one that's specifically for like regular paper. And I also have one that I've turned in for sublimation, and it's the same, well, almost the same printer. But yeah, no, I'm in love with the quality of it. I feel like I get a lot more ink out of there, and it's really, really good. So it's awesome. Is there a favorite brand? Okay, sorry, I'm going to jump ahead. There's somebody producing on the back end for me. I'm usually the one that's doing putting the questions up on the screen, so I tend to jump ahead. So sorry if I do that. Sorry, Art, if I have jumped ahead on you. Do I have a favorite brand of paper? When it comes to the white cardstock, so what I'm actually printing on for any of my printables, I like the Nina brand cardstock. It's the 110-pound paper. It's got the stacking boxes on top of it. So it comes in a giant a giant ream of paper. I buy them 2 or 3 at a time. It's fantastic. I actually have one just off camera. Hang on. I'm going to go grab that real fast so you guys can see it. You can see the actual package. This one. This is my favorite paper. So I use this for all my cardstock bases. So it's exact index 110. It's got like the stacking boxes on it. It is my favorite paper. I'm going to put this back over here because that's really crinkly and loud. It's super affordable, for that entire ream of paper. I think, that goes on discount every now and then. It's like 20 bucks-ish. Get on Amazon, free shipping. I use it for all my card bases. I use it for all my printing. I use it for stamping and coloring and die cutting, ink blending. It is like for my white paper that I use it for everything. I don't necessarily use it for watercoloring because it's not meant for watercolor, but I could do a tiny bit of watercoloring on there. But for like colored pencils and for Copic markers or for the Olo markers or any alcohol ink markers, they are fantastic for that. So yeah, that is my go-to, and it's a super great price point. How do you design my cute little critters? I do some research. I kind of go in and I find some images, and I don't draw these, just as a heads up. I am not that, but I will design all the other elements around there. So I will purchase the images from a site and then use them, and they're just so super cute. But then all the other parts of it, like the paper backgrounds or, the design, so how, like it's got the words around it and all that kind of stuff, that's where that comes from. I am a sucker for just cutie little things. I like that when it comes to designing any kind of paper products. It's just when I'm doing my papers or my digitals or my SVG files, I tend to lean towards the cutesy side. I just think they're just so much fun. Things might change as I, morph into different things every now and then, a more elegant or rustic, but no, cutesy is right there. How can a card maker turn her hobby into a business and reach people with her new YouTube channel? Oh, consistency. So you have to find a way to make you come through. So, just kind of giving you a little history of where I got started. It took me forever because I was working on design teams. So that got me at the door into this whole card making world. I'm a teacher by trade. That's what I did. I used to teach high school science for years, and then stayed home with the kids and really loved to create. And part of the reason why I stayed home is we had a child who passed away. And so my therapy was to create. And I love to create. I had to do that just to get through all the trauma that was going on in our lives. And so looked up information about how to create and how to do this. And scrapbooking at the time was the biggest thing for me. And then found out there's such a thing called design teams. So that gave me new products to work with. So that was nice. Some of the companies paid, which was even better. And then one of my companies said, hey, I want to do a YouTube channel. And so I got brave. But I got brave in terms of like, how did I didn't even want to put my face on camera for a while. So you have to do what's comfortable for you. And if you are ready to put your face on camera, if you're ready to try a live, if you're ready to try a short form video, don't wait to try it, just do it. And if you go back and look at anybody's first videos, any channel, pick a channel, unless it's like their second or third channel they've ever made, but pick any YouTube channel, go back and look at any of those first videos. We're all like, oh my God, it's so cringy, but we don't get rid of them because it shows where we came from. You will get better, you will morph, you will learn, you will realize you hit a speed bump and my lighting is not the greatest. I know I can do better with lighting. I know I can do better with my sound. So as you cross those speed bumps, you get better and better and better. And just try it. You know, right now, I would say try to put out some short form videos, try those shorts, try those reels, see if you can get your channel growing just by putting out content. And those are fast, those are easy, and it gets your channel momentum. Pick a schedule, stick by it. If you can post once a week, great. And it's okay if it's not every Wednesday or every Tuesday, but try to stick with the schedule as best as possible. That's the best way to grow, and being consistent. And don't be down on yourself if you make an oopsie or something didn't work out the way you wanted to. Pick yourself up and just kind of keep on going and keep plugging and chugging. And you never know. It's just, the key thing is if you're not enjoying the process, then it feels like a job. But if you enjoy the process, if you like what you do, then it's the most amazing job in the world because it doesn't feel like a job. So that's my best word of advice for all that. What does being on a design team mean? For each company, it's a little bit different. So some companies, they're talking about design teams. They will send you their products and they want you to create a card. They want you to create a scrapbook layout. They want you to create a DIY project. You know, it just depends on the company, what they're wanting. So, I mean, you'll see there's some Facebook groups or like design team calls or things like that. So some of them pay, some of them don't. And they're looking for, some people want video content, some people want others. That's how I got my foot in the door in the industry. And I think it's a great way to do that. I do feel like it's a way for those companies to get marketing. It's also a way for you to get a little bit of exposure. I do feel like paying those people is important because you are doing a lot of work for just a couple of stamp sets or for maybe a little bit of paper or for a marker or whatever it might be. So, but it's depends on the company. Some of these companies are mom and pop companies and they're going out there and trying to be. So the whole point of a design team is to take the products the company has, show how to use it, whether it's in a blog form, just a standard picture, just show here's an example how to use that stamp on a card, or how to, like, maybe it's a full-blown video, maybe it's a live, maybe it's a short video. It depends on what the company is looking for, but it's just a marketing tool to try and show how to use the products through other people that are not in-house people, but other people. And design teams can change every 3 months, 6 months, year. Some people, I've been not quote unquote on design teams. It started off as that, but it's morphed into something different over the years. Some companies I've been working with for over 8 years. So just, it all changes. It's all different. Did you approach design teams or did they approach you? Both. In the beginning, I actually, something I had never heard of before, I got brave and started posting my projects. And I look back at those projects and I'm like, cringe, they're so, oh my God. But everybody's got to start somewhere, right? But I got brave and I started posting in the scrapbook.com forums. So they have a gallery that you can post your pictures in there. And so I would tag the companies. So that's a good way to start now, is on Instagram. When you post a project, tag the companies you are using the supplies for. So if you use their stamp, if you use their marker, tag them. It's really easy to do. And so that was the version. Instagram didn't exist when I first started. So I would tag the companies and the products I was using on scrapbook.com. One of the first companies reached out to me and they said, hey, we love what you're doing. Would like to send you some product if you'd be willing to post some stuff on a blog. And I had just started a blog. Like, yeah, let's try this. And then I started looking for calls. And for every 10 teams I put my name in for, I got maybe one. And it's not because you're not good enough. It's just maybe you don't have the right fit. Maybe the aesthetic that you have is not what they're looking for. Maybe they're going a different path. Maybe they're looking for somebody who does video and you don't do video. So you never know why the no is there, but don't take offense if you get a no. It's okay. It's okay. Because for every no, and I did ask a question because I was on a team once, I applied again and I didn't make it. And I reached back and I said, Totally fine. I get why you didn't want to accept me. She goes, but I was just like, as a curious, why did I make it one year and not the other? And she goes, your numbers weren't there. And at the time, it was how much my blog was being seen, and she was using a metric. And I was not rating in the top 10 of the people. I was a little lower than that. So I was like the number 11 that was on the list, and they only took the top 10. So I took us off to get that higher. I have now since been working with that company for 9 more years. So it's okay to go back. Sometimes you'll get the answer of why you don't make it, and sometimes you don't. And it's okay. Don't worry about it. Just keep plugging and chugging and seeing what happens. But you can also start trying to make your own products. There's nothing wrong with that either. All right. Do I use Canva? Absolutely. Who doesn't? I love Canva. I use Canva to helping me design some of my projects. So I like how it works in terms of like layering products, and like their circle templates. They're easy. I use it for my YouTube thumbnails. I use it for helping me with my shorts and my reels. I use it for all kinds of graphics that I'm using for other events that I do, or my personal events or events for other people, to make my proposals for companies. They have all kinds of really cool proposals. There's a ton of stuff within Canva. My thank you cards that I put in my boxes when I send out boxes to people, stuff like that. So yeah, Canva, I use Canva a lot. And I have like the highest level paid version of it. So I have free reign on all this stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that's in there. Any tweaks to use a Cricut instead of dies for the circles? Yeah. So when you're for this circle, that's really easy. So you just make it a little bit bigger than the image and then cut it. For this one, you would have to create a file that basically would look like that. And it has to be, think the 2 circles, right? And you would make sure that this piece would fit in there. And then when you're cutting, it only cuts to here. And then you could do a little score mark right here. I'm going to flip my camera because that's just a pain in the butt to try and hold that up and talk at the same time. So when you're designing it, and I did not design this, so that was what it was. However you're going to put in there, you could do 2 circles together and like weld this section together, and then just do it where it scores it right here, or when it pops out, you fold it in half. So you could easily, sorry, I don't know why that just glitched. You could easily go in and create a version, because it's just 2 circles together, and then get rid of the stitching right there. So that is a way to do that. That's pretty easy. And or somebody might have a version of that already. You could also do this with scissors if you wanted to. So instead of using a die, you could go in and have a sheet of paper folded, put something down that's a circle, for lack of a better term. You could get, a cup or something, have the cup just be a little bit offline, trace around it, pretend this is bigger, right? But just trace around it with your pencil, and then just cut with your scissors so you can get that cutting mark. So there's lots of good ways to go around and to make this if you don't have a die or, a die cut element. But yeah, they could be cute coasters too, right? Like you could go in and put a coating on them or something. Yeah, all kinds of fun ways that you can do that. Lots of fun stuff. Do you have Olo markers, and what's your opinion of them? Yes, I have a ton of them. They're back there. I actually work with Olo. We have the color of the month that we get every month. I have my stash. Just wrong drawer. So yes, my Olo markers. I love them. I haven't opened up this. This is the, I forgot to open up September. I'm behind. I've been so swamped with other events that I've been doing, my own personal events right now. But I love Olo markers. So I love that they last a little bit longer. They can blend with any of the other markers I have, whether it be super cheapy ones I got off of Amazon that were like 60 of them for $20, which when those are done, they're done. You can't refill those. They also blend really well with, high-end Copics or Spectrum Noirs or any of the other high-end alcohol markers that are out there. The blending quality is wonderful. I feel like the colors are pretty true. Sometimes I've gotten markers where like you look at the cap of the color and then you put the color on the paper and they look nothing alike, and that drives me bonkers. Like I want to see the color on the actual marker. So if that's the orange that it's showing me, I want to get the orange. I want that color orange because I'm looking at all my markers behind me and I'm pulling based on the color I see there. So to me, that's really important. And like I said, the blending quality is phenomenal. I like that you can switch out. So, you have the brush side on one end, but you also have the chisel tip. But you can also get the markers because you can pull them apart and you get one for one, and then you can switch it. You don't have to use the same color on the other side. You could get a shade lighter and it's still a marker. So it saves space in that respect. And the amount of ink in one tube is double the amount that you would get in some of the other markers, because it's not being filled by amount of felt. It's a liquid inside of there, which is really smart. And so it's really good. The way that they came across the marker, and it's not that the ink is any better or lesser, it's just the functionality of the marker itself. So the quality of the ink is second to none compared to any other good quality ink that's out there for the alcohol inks. But the method of how they are delivering it to you, I think is great. All right. What is my favorite drink to have while creating? I'm drinking it right now. I'm a sucker for anything fizzy. That's kind of a funny question. I love that one. I'm a sucker for anything that's got a bubbly and a fizzy. So I love my sodas, and I try not to drink too much sugar. My go-to right now, and I found this about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, are these little fizzy drinks. They're called Arbonne. And they're these little fizz sticks. And so there's little packages. There is a minimal amount of caffeine, but the caffeine comes from like ginseng and things like that. There's a lot of B vitamins. There's a lot of vitamins that are in there, and they have a plethora of different colors. So that is what's in my tumbler at this moment. I have a soda stream. So I will, even though it already has like a fizz quality to it, I do one of those little sticks, and they have citrus and pineapple and what else? Pomegranate, raspberry. They keep coming up with new flavors. I'm not a big fan of the watermelon, but one of my kids loves it. They have a strawberry. I mean, they have tons. There's a blackberry. There are all these fruity flavors, and they're fantastic. And then I'll put, to make it extra fizzy, because I love bubbles, I will put the soda stream in there on top of that. So I have an extra fizzy something, and it's just a lot of water that I'm drinking throughout the day. I will probably have 4 or 5 of them. That is my morning coffee, is my fizzy sticks in the morning, because I don't drink coffee. And it's just too darn hot in Texas to drink hot tea. So I just can't. I can't do that. So speaking of which, I have pineapple in here right now. Oh, what are my favorite techniques? Ooh, depends. Oh, right now I'm really into ink blending, because I feel like with stencils and then you ink blend on top of that, it has such a wow factor to everything that is going on with that. It is such a cool, like, you put the stencil down, you ink blend, and you can have different shades of colors, and you pull it up, and it just looks amazing no matter what you do. And you can add layers of mixed media on top of that. And you can use that in a card, or you could use that on pretty much anything. I am loving sublimation as well, because I feel like you can do, I had it right here. Like, you can take a tumbler and you can create a file, and it has such a kind of a really cool effect. And you can do that on so many different surfaces. That is just one of them. I really don't have any specific technique. I'm like, that's my, like, I have to do that. I like to dabble. I like to try new things. I like to do digital stuff. I like to do, just a little bit of everything. I'm not into anything. This is probably easier to tell you what I'm not into. I'm not into anything that takes me hours and hours and hours to do. My satisfaction is something that is fast, fun, easy, quick. And I feel that sense of accomplishment in just maybe in an hour or less. And it was a cool thing. I got my endorphin rush from creating something. I hit all of that serotonin, like all that good vibey feelings, which is why we create. So all that stuff has just kind of come pouring through, and I got to create something fun. So whether it's like putting kits together, or creating samples for a company, or creating a video, or creating the files that I put on there, it's still that form of creating, and it was fun and it was enjoyable. And that to me is the best part of creating, is, feeling that sense of accomplishment and having fun while doing it. Good question. All right. Busy home life. Yeah. We're in softball crazy season right now, and band, and God knows what else. I'll keep reading. All right. How do you balance my crafting with home? So I'm lucky. My kids go to school. My youngest is in grade 6. My oldest is a senior in high school. I also have an 8th grader as well. So we're a blend of a lot of different that's going on right now. So my work time, and I really try to focus very hard on when the kids are all off to school. As soon as they get done, that is when my work time starts. And I will do my best to try and finish by the time they are done. And then I might, if I sit down in front of my computer, I'm like, okay, I've got 20 minutes because the kids are doing their thing, and we've got 20 minutes before we got to go. What can I get done in that 20 minutes? I will do my best to try and carve off little pieces of time. Every now and then I will have a deadline, and I will be up. I was up the other night putting a whole bunch of kits together because I had to get them in the mail. And I was up until 1:30 making sure everything was ready, because they were getting picked up that next morning from the USPS by the front door. So they had to get done with all the shipping labels and everything on them. So they had to be out the door. So had a deadline and I couldn't just, that's what it was. So sometimes I'm up late. My kids will probably be like, she's always working. But, I will schedule time to make sure I hit all of my kids' cross country as often as I can see their meets or their football games they go to or their marching competitions they go to. And then I also help coach my daughter's softball team. So I really try to have that specific amount of time with each of the kids. My husband and I went on a date night last night because we had a pocket of time. I'm like, let's go out to eat. It was really good food too. I even got like a whiskey tasting thing. Oh, that was fun. It was like a flight of whiskeys and you got to try each one. And then like some of them I realized like if you have just a sip of water after it, it really changes the flavor of the whiskey. I don't know if anybody else is a whiskey person, but that was fun. What part of Texas? I live just outside of Austin, Central Texas, just outside of Austin. We are hot right now. Ugh. What do I do with my cards? Good question. So some of my cards, I'm just gonna say I do a card swap. And so some of my cards go into the card swap. I host that. So that's one of the ways I do with my cards. My mother comes and she loves to take a big batch of cards. She lives out of the country, but she lives close to us. She snowbirds in Texas. So whenever she comes to visit, she's like, I need to grab some Christmas cards and birthday cards and this. And I'm like, take your pick, have fun. And so we'll do that. I also donate cards to the military. So my husband's in the military. So he will take cards to his office and then they will send them off to the different deployed groups because they know that there's different groups that are deployed. I just have to make sure they're within the realm of no glitter, nothing shiny, nothing that can stick to any uniform because that could get called out if it gets caught on their uniform. Plus, they have to keep their uniforms clean. So cards like this would be perfect because there's nothing on there that can get on a clothing. We've also done some where we've donated it to a local nursing home. We've done some of those. We have my daughters in Girl Scouts. So sometimes we'll take extra supplies and I'll show my card as an example and then they'll create. We're hopefully going to be doing that for Christmas this year, which will then take those cards to nursing homes. So yeah, that's what I do with my cards. Pass them around. I'm really horrible about mailing them out. I also send some of my cards to my YouTube members. So if you're one of my YouTube members, then you get fun cards in the mail with little stickers and fun goodies from me. So there we go. Is there a technique or a hobby you haven't done that you would like to try? I think the laser forge would be really cool, like doing all the 3D printing and laser stuff. That'd be fun. That's like huge machines. I always thought that quilt making would be really cool, but that takes so much time and to have all this stuff out. But just seeing the done ones and the act of doing it and the sewing on it. I love the idea of sewing, but just setting it all up and doing that just seems like a lot of work. I also love, and I would love to try it, but I also know it takes a huge amount of time. At least for me, I feel like it would because I'm slow, is like those knitting, those really cutie little, or crocheting, those cutie little animals or creatures. They're like amaguris or whatever they're called. They look so cute. I mean, I like cutie elements, obviously. So I just think those would be so much fun, but I feel like that would just take a lot of time for me to learn how to do that. And I just don't have the time right now. Maybe one day. If I would like to illustrate for a stamp or die companies, do you have any tips on how to get started with that? So I would suggest a couple of ways of doing it. One, reach out to some of the companies. A lot of those small mom and pop companies that are stamped, now think not huge companies, think some of the smaller ones, they're always looking for new designers for their stamps. And so when you draw them, you could start posting. You could even make like a specific Instagram account or a Facebook page for just your sketches and make sure to copyright on top of it as best as you can and just post your ideas. So when the company is like, oh, well, you're interested in doing that, you're like, yeah, take a look. Here's my site. Here's all of the sketches I've done. And it could be you drawing in like the full one done, colored in, or it could be a quick sketch. But having some sort of portfolio to show them that that is what you've done, maybe take your sketches and put them on cards and then tag yourself. And you never know who might be looking and who might be interested. I had a friend who had been doing her own digital papers and a company reached out to her and said, hey, we would love you to make some papers for our company. And so but she had been posting pretty frequently online for people to find her. You can also reach out to companies and send them. If you don't want to put it out there for the public, you could reach out for companies and have a private one or a portfolio or some sort of Google Drive where you have those images in there. Showing how to color it, have it colored in and non-colored might be a good concept for them to see how it looks both ways. Have it finished on a card because you drew it and maybe you could scan it and then cut it out, those kinds of things. So that would be my suggestion. Do you do sublimation? No, not at all. Just kidding. Yes, I do sublimation. Broke down and bought myself a sublimation printer and everything. And I love that was my other big thing. I love sublimation with ink blending and stencils. Oh, there's some beautiful stuff. If so, do you have a printer you recommend? So I recently purchased one for myself, partly because I was using it for a retreat I hosted a while ago. And so we were doing sublimation projects. And so I wanted to print everything off to have it ready. So we were doing tumblers, we did tote bags, and so I bought myself one. So I can honestly say, after printing multiple times, sublimating on different surfaces, I bought the Epson 2800. It is an eco tank. So you put the sublimation ink into the tanks. It comes in bottles. And I didn't put anything else in there but sublimation ink. It is purely 1,000%, 100% only for sublimation, nothing else. So it is in my back workroom. It's only for sublimation. It is wireless, so I can send it from my computer. I can make all my files on my home computer or my work computer, which is literally on the other side of this camera. And I'm pointing that direction because that's where the workroom is in my house. It's the spare bedroom that got converted into the workroom. And it can wirelessly print there. I use the Hippo ink. It's HIIPO. I did have, so Hippo, that's what it looks like. It looks like a little hippo on there. You have to use a specific sublimation ink, and you need sublimation paper to print, to put on whatever blank you're using. This happens to be a poly-coated blank, so therefore it takes the sublimation. But anything with polyester in it, in terms of clothing or tote bags and things, will also take that as well. The higher the quality of the ink and the paper, the better it all works. I've found it to be fantastic. The key thing with the printer when you print is you can't just go, oh, print. You have to change the settings to be the highest quality, the slowest speed, change out your RY, there's certain things that you have to do. And if you've ever are interested in sublimation, I'm going to give a shout out to Angie Holden. She is phenomenal about breaking down all the stuff about how to doing all these things. I've utilized her videos. She's also an amazing person. I personally know her and she's awesome. So if you're getting into the world of sublimation, she is got it on, but it is really, really fun. Time to wrap up. I could just keep on going and going and going. All right. Well, thank you so much. Yes. Tag me if you have any questions or if you're curious about anything. I am a wealth of knowledge, but I'm also a master of none. No, just kidding. No, I love all things to do with this. So thank you so much. We had a blast. Thank you. I know we didn't get a lot of questions, but they're pretty straightforward and easy cards. So I know you can master that, either with, scissors, or you could probably make the file out of your Cricut or with your dies. Please go and check out all of my sites. You can find me everywhere. My site is erinreedmakes.com. There's lots of fun stuff going on at all times, from retreats to freebies to card swaps to all kinds of stuff. There's some things going on now if you want to head over and check them out. I'd love to have you. And you can also find me on all my social media. Everything is Erin Reed Makes. So there we go. Thank you so much for having me. Bye, everybody.